Mathew Header was born in Reading, Pennsylvania on August 19th, 1970. He is the middle of five children to Ruby and Elvin Heater. His mother was a waitress, and his father was a paper worker for 30 years. Mathew Heater enlisted in 10th grade. He said, I actually signed up for the military when I was in 10th grade and left right after high school. I went in just right after my 18th birthday.
What made you choose that specific branch of service?
I just wanted to travel around the world, get to see different sites and stuff like that, and I thought that was the best branch to do it through.
Mathew Heater went to Great Lakes, Illinois for 3 months for his training camp. In addition to his training camp, Mathew Heater also experienced a 21-week special training in order to earn his rank as EM3. He explained it as,
Mainly it was the 21-week schooling, and then we would have tests to advance and rate. You'd start out as a recruit, and then you had to work your way up. So I believe I went up 5 scales through tests. But it was just, all the electrical stuff you needed to know about being on a ship, elevators, whatever was in there, they taught us.
after he finished his training, Heater was stationed aboard the USS Nassau. He spoke of the work that he did that he was most proud of while he was in the service. He said, I would overall say just helping to keep the ship running electrically. It was quite a unique system. While aboard the USS Nassau, life was very different. He needed to adjust to the food, social life, and barracks. There was a sense of community almost, he said. They all helped one another on the trip. He said it was a very family-like atmosphere, if you would. He was stationed in Norfolk, but traveled abroad often. He spent 3.5 years stationed there aboard the USS Nassau. His favorite memories from serving were all the places he got to see, from traveling through the Mediterranean and witnessing Desert Storm. He said, we were sitting off the coast of Libya, and we could see all of the oil wells that had been set on fire. They were just right there. It was a very unique experience. Throughout his whole military career, the place he remembers most was boot camp. He recalls it so well because it was very intense and how they made them break. He said it was a really, really interesting experience. Throughout his career, Mathew Heater experienced many unique things that many people don't get to witness. He said his main duties was being an electrician during all hours of the day. He was instructed to build bombs during Desert Storm and load them onto the Aviator Harrier jump jets, which was under special conditions. However, on a normal day, he would answer service calls and go out and fix whatever the problem was. During Desert Storm, as Saddam Hussein had oil dropped into the ocean, Mathew Heater was put on the gun mounts. The duty he had varied from day to day, depending on the conditions of Desert Storm. While Mathew Heater served his country, he was stationed aboard the USS Nassau the whole time. Mathew Heater elaborated about this ship. It was just an incredibly large ship. It was an amphibious assault ship, he said. Mathew Heater enjoyed his time on the ship and found it very fulfilling. He said, I learned about life and about myself. It was kind of like it put life into perspective, he said. While serving, Mathew Heater found it hard to stay in contact with his family at home. They sent letters back and forth on special mail days. He said it was always the highlight of his week or day. During his free time, he would play cards with his friends and lift weights. As the war came to an end, Mathew Heater was at his home port of Norfolk, Virginia. He went to the UAE and Dubai and other ports to check to make sure that everything was all right. After they were done in the UAE, his ship was sent across the ocean and he was headed home. When he returned home, his life was a little different.
How were you perceived by your family and community when you returned home?
Um, it was a little different. They definitely seemed to give us a little more respect, and not that we would ask for it, but things were changed. Everybody was happy to see us, and they did treat us differently after that. And it was good times. It was, definitely had more respect.
How did you readjust to civilian life?
It definitely took 6 months or so to get back into civilian life, having no bosses over you actually 24 hours a day. it was different. But like when I did go back to work, I definitely believe I worked a lot harder and had a lot better values after serving in the military.
He said that it took him about 6 months to get readjusted into civilian life after returning home from the war. He said that being in the war taught him better working skills and values of working hard, which he applied to life when he got back home and started working as an electrical contractor and then back working for the government. Heater learned valuable life lessons in the military and said that serving in the Navy really helped him to get a better idea of who he really is. He also learned teamwork and how to have dedication to his work and to do the work to the best of his ability. Heater says that his favorite part about serving in the military was all the traveling. He loved seeing new places and said that one of his favorite places he traveled to was England.
When asked what he would like to say to future generations, Mathew Header said that people should strive to do the best that they can in everything they do, and the military is a great opportunity in life. He said that he knew he wasn't going to be able to afford college, which was one of the main reasons why he chose to go into the Navy. Heater says that one of his favorite memories from serving in the Navy was when his ship was traveling across the extremely wavy North Atlantic. He and his crew were eating lunch, and their tables and chairs would slide from one end of the dining area to the other due to the strong waves, and everyone would hold onto their trays and continue eating. If given the chance to, Heater said he would definitely sign up and serve again. We asked Mathew Header what branch of fighting he would join in if he would sign up again, and he replied, "I would say I would stick with the Navy. Like I said, it was a great experience."
Mathew Heater explained to us how living on a ship was like living in a mini city. He said they had a barbershop, a store. I mean, whatever you had in a normal city, we had on the ship, he said. We asked Heater what his favorite medal was that he received while serving. He said that his favorite medal was the Kuwait Liberation Medal. Heater said that one of the most amazing experiences was watching the ocean colors change from shades of blue to even purple, and that it was an incredible sight. Heater's favorite base that he was stationed at was Great Lakes, Illinois.
Do you wish for them to follow in your footsteps of enlisting in the Navy?
I would not have a problem with that. Whatever they decide, I would back them up. If they would want to go in the Navy, I would think it would be great. I wouldn't push them to it, but I definitely tell them about how it was. My older son's in college now, so I'm not sure. He's probably after that now. I don't think he would go back to do that. But no, I would back him 100% if my youngest son would want to go.
Now that Mathew Header is no longer serving in the Navy, he works as an electrician. He still uses his skills that he learned as being an EM3 to this day. Mathew Header explains that he and the rest of his crew was on the ship that first invaded Kuwait. He explained how the plan was to ram the shoreline and that an invasion was going to start, and the casualty expectancy rate was 70% Marine and 30% Navy. Heater told us how everyone on the ship was ready to get into action after being out on sea for 6 months. He then explained to us how that either that Saturday or Sunday before the attack, the captain came over the loudspeaker and said that they fired the first Tomahawk missile, but were no longer going to ram the shoreline, but were instead going to go through with special operations. Mathew Header said that the USS Nassau was a massive ship. He explained to us that the ship itself was 850 feet long, not including the 900-foot carrier that was attached to it. He said it was about 60 feet from top to bottom and had 16 stories. The USS Nassau is the second largest ship in the Navy.
How many people were stationed aboard the USS Nassau?
When we would do our Mediterranean cruises, we would have 1,700, usually 1,700 Marines on our ship and 3,000 Navy, so 4,700 was normal for us to have on the ship.
The typical daily routine for Heater when he lived on the USS Nassau was a workday from 6 o'clock in the morning to 1600 in the afternoon, which would be 4 o'clock. He would then have to stand 2-hour watches, and depending on the time that your watch was, you wouldn't get much sleep. Navy veteran Mathew Header said he was happy for the opportunity to share his story with us, and we are glad he did. Because of this interview, we were able to learn so much about the experiences of a Navy veteran. We would like to thank EM3 Navy veteran Mathew Header for his service for our country.